Do you genuinely think you are the best female breaker in Australia?
Well, it's a whole new year and Raygun is still lying about being okay with legally protected parodies.
I love all the creativity and the interpretations and the things that it has sparked off, you know, be it like the celebration dance at the end of a sports game, or if it's a t-shirt, or if it's a windscreen wipers.
This is the same woman who I'm pretty sure at the time of this recording was going back and forth in a legal battle with comedians and comedy venues for doing her dance, for interpreting her work, and for parodying her. And here she is on red carpet events for who knows what event, talking about how much she loves parodies. But what does she think about parody merchandise?
I have already seen Christmas decorations. I've seen a Raygun nutcracker. I've seen Raygun baubles and things go on the tree. Some of them are really nice. I want some of these because some people, if they're gonna use my image to make these beautiful things, can they at least give me some free copies? Yeah, that's right. And maybe some royalties.
Ooh, so close to holding in an instinctual demand for money there, Raygun. You almost nailed it. But it is good to hear that you are okay with parody merchandise. With that in mind, 1 second, I'll be right back. Ah, that's much better, isn't it? Almost forgot. The stupid hat. Guys, for a limited time only, the next 10 days at loosebeers.com, we are going to be selling this unofficial Raygun parody poster, which I will be signing. And according to Raygun, that's totally fine by her.
Give me some free copies. Yeah, that's right. And maybe some royalties.
Great idea about the royalties, Raygun. I love the enthusiasm. I'm sure demanding even more money from legally protected parody merch is going to go down really well in the public's eye. I'm sure your publicist is impressed with your aptitude for interviews. How about this? I've got a great idea. You're going to love it. loosebeers.com. I'm selling this legally protected parody poster, and that is legal. Ask your lawyers. Maybe don't ask the lawyers you have now. Maybe get new lawyers and then ask them, and they'll probably give you an answer that is correct. But how about this? I'll give you the choice. Multiple choices. Either I will take 20% of the revenue from this poster and I will give it directly to you for your royalties, or I will take 20% of the revenue from this poster and donate it directly to a women's shelter of my choice. Up to you, Raygun. I know that sometimes when the option comes up between donating it to women in need versus pocketing it yourself, that's historically been a difficult choice for you, but I'm hoping that you will make the right one. You might be wondering, what about the rest of the money? That will go directly into my pockets, or fairly likely my lawyer's pockets, to defend against a frivolous lawsuit. I'll let you decide, Raygun, where you want that money to go. And if you are watching this and you'd like to buy one of your own, loosebeers.com. It's on sale right now for the next 10 days. Fucking stupid. For real, please buy the poster. Do you know how much this costume cost me? It was like $60. I couldn't find a men's size. I'm wearing like a XXL women's and I feel like I'm in a straitjacket. Please help.
We also just got a cease and desist from Raygun. Apparently you did a trademark pose.
Yeah.
And now all the donation money actually has to cover the legal costs.
She does usually send threats to charity events. I forgot that. It's been a tough few weeks for Raygun, and after this controversy, it's had a lot of people scrutinizing how she even made it into the Olympics. And in this video, I'm going to have a look at how she was accepted and go through the conspiracy theory that many people are writing in the comments of all of my videos, that Raygun actually cheated her way into the Olympics and it was all a scam.
All us judges talked about how she was going to get smashed, absolutely smashed.
Of course, all of those claims are alleged, hearsay, and not asserted by me. We're just going to have a look at it. I'm Lewis Spears. Welcome back to the review. Like, subscribe, and let's break it down.
Yeah, I knew my chances were slim.
Also, I'm doing my stand-up comedy tour. I start in Perth, January 17, and I'm going all over the country. Come see me live in 2025, loosebeers.com. It's going to be a laugh. Before we take a look at the claims that Raygun cheated her way into the Olympics, you got to feel a little bit sorry for her. It's been a rough end of the year for Raygun. I mean, everyone has been making fun of her over the holiday period. She probably thought we were all going to take a break, but even Netflix has been getting in on the Raygun roast.
Give it up for Australian breakdancer Raygun. Hi, Raygun. What's up? What's up? Woo! Yeah. Hey, if your name's Raygun, why do you dance like like you're being tased.
If you thought that Raygun had even a little bit of a chance of a claim against Steph Broadbridge when it came to her parody show, this clip from Netflix really blows that out of the water. Of course, parody via comedy is completely legal, and you can see here that Netflix is just rubbing it in Raygun's face. They're doing her dance, they've got her costume on, they're calling her Raygun, they're implying that it is her, and that's perfectly legal because it is parody. It's even happening at a comedy show, and it's happening at like a multi-million-dollar event. If this was illegal, Netflix would not allow it to play.
A 2024 legend who got the Olympic breakdancing canceled. Raygun, your moves were so bad when the Special Olympics saw them, they were like, you know what, it's okay to say the word re.
And to be honest, I didn't really think this would be that bad for Raygun's reputation long term, because I thought that maybe it was only something that real comedy heads and Australians cared about. I didn't think it was a global issue at all, but you've got Netflix's biggest comedians roasting her on stage at the end of the year. And then when Robbie Williams, one of the biggest pop stars in the world, came over to Australia to do our New Year's Eve special, he pulled out some of Raygun's dance moves. Could you imagine being Raygun right now? I bet she didn't go out to any big New Year's Eve event. I bet she was like, we're just going to keep it to be a quiet one. We'll sit at home on the couch. We'll turn on ABC and we'll watch the New Year's Eve show. That's what everybody does when they don't want to have a big one. They sit at home and they watch the ABC New Year's Eve special. She's probably thinking, oh God, I can just switch the world off and relax. And then fucking Robbie Williams gets up and starts mocking you on stage, and the entire audience audibly laughs. Sucked in, Raygun. And now that brings us to the great conspiracy theory, because I've been seeing this in comment sections under every one of my videos, in comment sections under every single post about Raygun. People are convinced that she cheated her way into the Olympics, and this is the conspiracy theory that other people are saying, not me. The conspiracy is that Raygun, being a PhD educated academic with a specialization in breakdancing and the scene, used her know-how to set up several different government bodies that were in charge of the selection process that decided who was going to go to the Olympics. Her husband, a man named Sammy Free, is also a breakdancer who happens to be her coach. The biggest part of this claim is that Raygun's husband, who's her coach, was on the judging panel that made the decision to let Raygun win all of her battles and send her all the way to the Olympics, even though she was nowhere near qualified and would definitely lose. That is the claim. And this claim spread like wildfire all across the internet right after the Olympics. I'm sure you've heard of it before, and I'm sure that a lot of people watching this video actually believe it. I had a look at it and I thought, well, this sounds pretty compelling, and so did many other people, to the point where Change.org had a petition taken down by the Olympics who called it defamatory. The petition ended up with almost 50,000 signatures before the Olympics official body themselves had it taken down via legal threats.
Startling new details have emerged about how Raygun was able to qualify for the Paris Olympics.
Now, of course, this claim does sound very compelling, but I've done a lot of research into it. So have a lot of other people, including this amazing creator called Flesh Simulator, did a deep dive into this thing, and that is not true at all. Raygun did not qualify because her husband was on the judging panel. She did not set up her own government bodies that then elected her to qualify. That is not what happened. However, that does not mean that this is not suspect at all, because the more you look into it, and especially the more you have a look at the evidence that Flesh Simulator presents, the more you start to realize that this is actually pretty fishy after all.
So I looked up 143 Liverpool Street Familia and found a member list. You almost got away with it, didn't you? Oh, nar, indeed.
This controversy spread so far and wide that the Olympics themselves had to respond because Raygun was going on interviews with Australian media to deny these allegations.
In the aftermath of your performance, it got pretty wild, actually. There were all kinds of conspiracy theories going on.
Gunn, who set up her own governing body for breakdancing, has manipulated the selection process.
Yeah, the conspiracy theories were just awful. That was upsetting because it wasn't just people that, you know, didn't understand breaking and were just angry about my performance. It was people that are now attacking our reputation and our integrity.
This got so big that the Australian Olympic Committee actually sent legal threats to change.org to remove the petition and responded very publicly about what they thought of these allegations.
The AOC has demanded change.org to take down the appalling petition, saying it contains numerous falsehoods designed to engender hatred. The petition has been signed by 48,000 people.
Now, I and a lot of actual journalists have done some research on this, and yeah, it's absolutely not true. Sammy Free, Raygun's husband, was not a judge on the battle that Raygun won that got her into the Olympics. Raygun did not found any bodies that were part of decision-making to put her in the Olympics. This is all not true.
It does, in fact, appear that Sammy the Free was in no way involved with Osprix. And it's unlikely that Raygun helped found it, although she was, in fact, she was positively profiled by the Osprix Facebook page less than 2 weeks after it was created, which is a little weird, kind of just circumstantial.
So, to qualify for the Olympics, Raygun had to win the Oceania Championship to then get put forward. Her husband had no involvement on that panel. She had no involvement with that organization. However, to get into the Oceanic Championship, there were a lot of other battles that Raygun had to win. And this is where it gets very suspect because there are some very familiar names that are judging on panels to get there. I'm going to let Flesh Simulator explain this because he does a brilliant job and you should definitely check out his full video, which I will link below.
That judging process was done by an international panel of judges, none of whom were even Australian. But then, I found a research paper by Raygun, Dr. Rachel Gunn. I found a research paper by Raygun, Dr. Rachel Gunn, from 2014, called Breaking Down Dominant Conceptualizations of Place, the Transgressive Potential in 143 Liverpool Street Familia's Engagement with the Downing Centre Courts.
God, if you write papers with titles that are that long, I know you can't dance.
It turns out this building had its own sort of oceanic breakdancing Illuminati associated with it. Both Raygun and Sammy the Free were members. The judges of every preliminary battle that Raygun won to make it to the Oceania Championships had at least one judge from 143 LSF, including, on at least one occasion, her husband.
So while, yes, her husband was not a judge on the final competition that Raygun won to make it to the Olympics, he was a judge on at least one of the competitions that got her to that particular competition, and in several other battles, people that she was friends with and had worked with before were judges on those panels. So while the big claim that most people repeat is absolutely provably false, it does seem that the spirit of the conspiracy lives on in reality when you have a look at who's judging the competitions that got Raygun through the steps to get to the Oceanic qualifier, which got her to the Olympics. And it would appear that some of these people may be her friends. Now, you might be thinking, well, just because some people that were judging the competition know Raygun or were friends with Raygun, that doesn't mean that she didn't legitimately win all of her battles. Because, you know, this is like rap battling in Australia. It's a very small scene. Everybody knows everybody. It's pretty difficult to not have a mate on a judging panel, or at least somebody that you know peripherally on a judging panel. So maybe she did legitimately win. Luckily, we actually have footage of one of the battles that Raygun won that got her through to the Oceanic qualifying event that got her to the Olympics. Let's see who we think is the better breakdancer. This is Raygun versus Holy Molly. Yeah, okay, I've seen enough. I don't know who you think won that battle, but I've got a pretty strong opinion who did. And one of the judges of this event on day 2 was from LSF, someone who Raygun appears to be intimately involved with. That's who she wrote her paper on, the LSF family. So that's pretty interesting, isn't it? So after winning this battle against Holy Molly, Raygun ended up continuing on and eventually made it to the Oceanic qualifier, which she won, and that got her into the Olympics. Now, do you know who was a judge at the Olympic Oceanic qualifier that got her into the Olympics? Well, I'll let Flesh Simulator explain it to you.
You know who else was a member of 143 Liverpool Street Familia? The New Zealand breakdancer Rush, aka Te Hiratanga Robert Wepiha. You know what else he did? He was a judge on the panel for the Oceania World Championship. So, you know, it explains some stuff, doesn't it?
Now, of course, I'm not asserting that Raygun cheated her way into the Olympics. Absolutely not. That would be defamatory. I don't think that at all. In fact, I completely disagree with everything that Flesh Simulator has said. What do you think? You probably disagree as well. Couldn't be true, could it?
All us judges talked about how she was going to get smashed, absolutely smashed.
Now, I did some digging to see if Raygun talked about knowing the judges at any point in interviews, and I found this interview on The Project, bear with me, with Waleed Ali, bear with me, where she directly makes the claim that she did not know anyone on the judging panel that selected her to go forward to the Olympics.
And did you know anyone who was involved in making the selection or any of the judges?
There were 9 judges, all from overseas. I don't think any of them have judged anything that I'd been in before. I was, super nervous about it, to be honest, because even though I'd won all these competitions in Australia, I was nervous about winning this one because it was all new judges.
Is it just me, or did Raygun sidestep the question there? Wiley directly asked her, did you know anyone on the judging panel? And Raygun said, well, they weren't Australian and they'd never judged me before. But she didn't answer the question, did you know them? Because as we know now, the guy Rush from New Zealand is a member of LSF who Raygun wrote an entire paper on, who has also, LSF, on their Facebook page, 2 weeks after it was created, promoted Raygun immediately. That seems like a little bit of a fib. You didn't know that guy at all, Raygun? Now, of course, I'm not a breakdancer, neither is Flesh Simulator, so why don't we have a look at what actual breakdancers in the scene thought about Raygun qualifying? In fact, why don't we go directly to the source? Let's have a look at what Rush, the judge that ended up qualifying Raygun for the Olympics, said. All of us judges talked about how she was going to get smashed, absolutely smashed at the Olympics. She knew it was going to be rough, so it's actually courageous of her. Yeah, look, if the person that we end up sending to the Olympics, who is supposed to be the best of the best of the best, is someone that the judges know is going to be absolutely trashed, why are we sending them at all? Especially when you have a look at what some other more talented breakdancers have said about not even getting the opportunity to qualify for the Olympics.
Fellow breakdancer Leah Clark has now revealed new details about how and why the selection pool was so shallow. Clark told The Guardian Australia that Raygun qualified fair and square, but suggested she wasn't competing against the best breakers the country has to offer. According to Clark, the Oceania qualifying event took place too soon after it was advertised, meaning some breakers didn't even know it was happening, claiming there wasn't even enough B-girls to fill the top 16.
Yeah, look, this whole qualifying process seems to be bureaucratic hell that someone with a PhD would be very well versed in navigating and would even excel in jumping through these bureaucratic hoops to be able to try out.
Clark also revealed breakers wanting to take part in qualifying had to register with 3 different organisations just to try out, and they also had to have a valid international passport.
When really, if we look at breakdancers in general, they usually come from marginalised communities that are a little bit outside on the fringe. They're not ever like well-educated private school PhD owning white ladies that are making their way to 40 years old. All right. It seems like the real talent in this country either didn't even know that these tryouts were happening or wouldn't be able to afford to enter them or couldn't navigate the bureaucratic process. And that is how we end up with situations like this.
Clark added that the fallout from Raygun's performance has really affected her and other breakdancers. She said, "How do I go to work now and try to get our sponsorship and get our grant money for breaking programs for a sport that's just been made a mockery of? And how do we go out and represent our country at other world-level events when Australia's been made a fool of? This is actually affecting us on a much larger scale than just memes."
And there you have it. Other breakdancers in this country are just left feeling very disheartened. And it's disheartening when you see someone who doesn't have the skill or the talent level that you know exists in your industry go out there and compete at high level events. It's embarrassing. We see this all the time in Australia. People getting put forward to compete or to be in the public eye that just aren't as good as the people around them that maybe don't check the right boxes to be able to fit on that stage. And you would think that someone who understands the culture of breakdancing in this country so well to the point they can write a whole PhD thesis on the idea of deterritorializing gender within it would know that maybe they weren't the most talented breakdancer in the country and would know that they're not the best representation of talent from Australia. But unfortunately, she doesn't think that at all.
Do you genuinely think you are the best female breaker in Australia?
Well, I think my record speaks to that. You know, I was the top-ranked Australian B-girl in 2020 and 2022 and 2023. I've been invited to represent at how many world championships, Paris, Korea, you know, so the record is there.
That is such an awesome claim from a woman who competed with so few people in the official competitions that they almost didn't have enough to run it at all. They needed 16 women. They only had 15 show up to compete. I mean, yeah, if you hold like a heavyweight boxing title event and invite nobody and then go, "Oh, I'm the world champion by default," that doesn't mean you're the best boxer in the world. That just means that no one showed up to the competition that you and your mates put on because you didn't tell anyone about it. Allegedly, that's the claim, which I think is completely false, don't you? Anyway, that's where we're going to leave it. I'm Lewis Spears. Make sure you grab the parody poster. 20% of proceeds will go either to Raygun or to a women's shelter that I choose. We'll let her decide. I'll wait for the email, all right? LewSpears.com. Grab the poster. You can get it for the next 10 days. I'll sign them all, and it's a good laugh, isn't it, to have on your wall. All right, I got to take this off. It's itchy. It's itchy. How could you dance in this?